This video is brought to you by Raw Fury, a Swedish indie publisher that puts out some amazing indies. Be sure to check out their Steam publisher page in the description to help support the channel and get a look at some amazing games. Call of the Sea is an immersive marvel with a dark and twisted secret hiding underneath its lush tropical vistas. And the sponsor for today's video puts out games with intrigue like this in abundance. If you're into indie titles, including roguelikes, then you'll enjoy the published works of Raw Fury, a Swedish indie publisher with a logo you probably recognize since they have some very reputable titles under their belt, including the titular Call of the Sea. I'm gonna tell you all about that game, including why I think even non-puzzle game fans will enjoy it, but first I want to tell my viewers that Raw Sember is kicking off at the moment, and it's an annual festive celebration of Raw Fury and all their amazing games. I already played some of their published works, which is why I wanted to bring them on as a sponsor, and I think it's also a great way to bring awareness to some amazing titles out there. So go ahead and click the link in the description to take a look at everything described here, and I'll be sure to touch on it again at the end of the video. Alright, let's talk about Call of the Sea. Now, I won't lie to you, it's been a minute since I've played a title like this, so I was afraid I'd get stuck on a puzzle or something to that effect, and while there were some puzzles that took longer to solve than others, I never got stuck with this game at all. Call of the Sea doesn't go down like cough syrup, where it initially hurts to go through, but there's a payoff at the end. It goes down like flavored water, nice and smooth so that you're able to enjoy every aspect of its texture and flavor without getting bogged down in the trite problems that plague lots of other titles with puzzle elements out there. Considering that the way the plot unravels towards the end is one of the more incentivizing parts of this title, I'm going to limit the footage I show here to the first 40% of the game, so don't worry, there will still be plenty for you to take in when you try it out for yourself. Call of the Sea's sun-soaked jungles and light-licked beaches are easy on the eyes, and whether it's for puzzle intrigue or just to take it all in, it's impossible to rip yourself from the allure and raw beauty of this world. There were times where I felt as if there wasn't a single crevice of this island that wasn't carefully considered to be as enchanting on the eyes as possible. Whenever leaves parted and I found a forest clearing, it was always so densely packed with vines, leaves, and beams of sun coating the tops of tropical houses. It's so easy for games to botch the way their jungle or forest areas look since there's so many competing elements that have to overlap and twist around each other in all the right ways, especially for indies. But by God, if the developers aren't up to the task here. It's certainly one of the most pretty jungle environments in a video game I've seen in recent memory, and is a strong reminder that art direction and graphical power can work hand in hand to create some truly eye-watering spectacles. Considering how many games out there have you solving problems in gray, desolate rooms, it was a welcome change of scenery, and I couldn't be more happy with what the team pulled off here. Call of the Sea is not just about the scenery though, nor is it entirely about the journey you're on. It's also about the journey that came before yours. You play as Nora, an adventurer in the 1930s sailing over the South Pacific, who was curious to find out what happened to her husband after he went on a sea voyage to find a cure for her mysterious illness. A story involving the separated couple unfolds over your time with the game, and the entire adventure is laced with doses of love and mystery in equal measure. This is not a flimsy excuse to go sailing and do some island hijinks that you'll hear about at the beginning of the game, only for it to never be touched on again until the end. It is a consistent beating part of your adventure that sticks around for your entire tropical visit. Yet for as curated and carefully crafted as it is, it never really feels too video gamey. These abandoned outposts and camps you find scattered throughout the island feel so lived in, so drenched in human experience, that it made bandit camps I came across in other titles feel almost plastic in comparison. Hammocks, piles of clothes, mirrors, and hygiene kits are just a few of the things you'll come across in these settlements in Call of the Sea. These places are not afterthoughts peppered throughout the island to give the illusion of depth, they are just as important as the puzzle and theory crafting elements of the game. Perhaps it's an advantage the studio was afforded owing to the game's smaller world size. This would allow them to pack more detail into each nook of this place than something that was open world per se, but credit where credit is due, and it really laid the groundwork for how much quality was in this title. Now you might be hearing all that and thinking hygiene kits are cool and all, but it's not exactly a thing I consider when making a purchasing decision about video games. Understandable, and like I touched on earlier, Call of the Sea's got you covered on the gameplay front. As you probably inferred from what I said at the beginning of this video, the main obstacles between you and the mystery surrounding this game are puzzles, and a fair amount of them. The puzzles themselves aren't a breeze, but they aren't so cryptic that they'll stump you for hours either, which is great because once the story lures you in, the last thing you'll want is to be stuck trying to figure out what to do next for hours on end. There is always something in the environment or something just out the corner of your vision that is tugging you in the right direction, as if the puzzle itself is begging to be solved, and it strikes a very elegant balance where you're constantly chipping away at this island's tangled mysteries without feeling like the game is just rolling over for you. It feels very rewarding. Now, despite this being a sponsored video, I am allowed to offer a balanced and critical view of the product, so if I had to levy one complaint, it'd be that some of the dialogue seems like it's very worried that you won't understand the story, and what I mean is, if you're ever confused as to what's going on, rest assured, Nora will fill you in.
Those horrible dreams again. I've had them repeatedly ever since my mother died and left me that music box in her will.
I bring this up because I think it might be an issue for other people. Personally, for me, I struggle with understanding the plots to a lot of games sometimes, so it didn't end up derailing my enjoyment really, and most importantly, unlike some AAA games that have come out recently, Nora doesn't ever really give away the solution to puzzles through dialogue or anything like that. It's confined just to the story beats, which is much appreciated. Not every game needs to be an infinitely replayable live service thing that's constantly feeding you less and less rewarding progression loops. Sometimes you just want to chill and take in a nice curated adventure, and Call of the Sea fits that niche super well. If you are a fan of strong narratives, quality puzzles, or just good video games, I can very comfortably recommend Call of the Sea. Alright, so Christmas is coming up and the anxiety of choosing the perfect gift is corroding us faster than Nora's mysterious ailment did in the 1930s. But Raw Fury has got you covered. Click the link in the description to take a look at all things Raw Fury, see their sizable lineup of indie titles. It's an absolute great month for indie game fans. I think you're really gonna like it. Use the link in the description to support the channel while getting some excellent indies. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful night. Booba.